Japan, and welcome to the Atelier Nikazuki video vlogging YouTube stuff. Don't know what to call it anymore. It's not episodes. I've had this debate with you before. Well, I've talked to you about this before, and it's just, episodes just does not fit anymore. Anyway, I'm here to tell you that I have had a very successful trip to Japan for more fabric. And this week, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be doing the voiceover for the fabric shopping in Tokyo at Tomato Fabrics in Nippori Fabric Town. And then over the next few weeks, there'll be some more video from Kyoto as well. We did Nomura Tailor and Tailor House, although I don't have a lot of video from Tailor House. It was a new location I went to. Obviously associated with Nomura Tailor, but I didn't quite know if I was supposed to record in there or not. Anyway, and then after that, I will be recording actual voiceovers and putting together compilations of the sites that we saw in Japan, because the we that I'm talking about is me and Caroline from H&R Arts Yarns. She came with me and we kind of did like a greatest hits of the greatest hits tour of Japan, and obviously lots of fabric shopping. It was a really good trip. It was really, really, really busy. To the point where I wish I had been able to actually take more advantage of my time in November, because it was surprisingly busy compared to what I thought it would be, but nowhere near the crowd levels that May was. A lot of foreigners, obviously, me included, but a lot of school children too, traveling domestically within Japan. So like, excuse me, caught a cold from my kids as soon as I got home, so I'm just trying to fight off the dregs of it. But anyway, yeah, we were going down, like, heading towards Hiroshima and the southern tip of Japan for, we went to Miyajima and the Ocean Gate. And the Kyoto-bound train that was the platform across from us, because we were transferring at Kobe, half the platform was filled with school children going to Kobe for a field trip, which I don't think I know I've never seen that many school children traveling domestically in Japan. It was nuts. So it was busy, obviously, for good reason. Japan is amazing, and I'm not special. I was there for the exact same thing that everyone else was there for, and it was a really good trip. We had really good weather. We got to see Takako of Adelknit, which was fantastic. Caroline says she had a really good time for her first trip. It was one of her first vacations in quite a while, so we did a lot. It's a lot of trip to do in 2 weeks even. But anyway, so the breakdown of kind of what's going to happen, I'm going to actually do a full recap of all the fabrics as well, lifting them up by my face and doing that whole like show off and show and tell of fabrics in the next few weeks. But I wanted to get the actual like footage from Japan together for you guys, do a voiceover of it again, since like in November I did the voiceover of like the process of choosing fabrics, which is really fun to me, and so I want to do it again this time because there's different fabrics. It was a really interesting experience because a lot of the people that were at the shops were the same people. I actually got recognized at Nomura Tailor. The woman who was cutting my fabric was the same one who was cutting my fabric in November, so that was really sweet. And yeah, it was just a really good trip. I haven't been to Japan for 2 weeks in a really long time, and I did feel very settled by the end of the trip, which is interesting because I haven't felt that before, even when we went and did the 26-day trip. So that was very interesting. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments. I am more than happy to answer. I will be doing highlights of my stories on Instagram as well. I obviously didn't post a lot of YouTube shorts, but I will be getting on that in the next few days. And then watch for the actual recap of what fabrics I purchased in Japan in situ in my actual fabric room. The other very exciting thing, and actually the main reason that I'm on here kind of doing a face-to-face conversation or talking at right now is that I have put up basically the fabric catalog that is available that doesn't already have wholesale orders pending, and you can build your own bags. Now what that means is that you can choose your exterior fabrics, and then depending on which bag you choose, you can build it out from there. So In the case of like large box bags and small box bags, you're choosing the exterior fabric, and then I choose the zipper and the interior fabric. If you choose a Kato, you can, like the drawstring bag, you can choose the leather color, the rivet, or not the rivet, the D-ring color, and then like canvas color and everything like that. I will still select the interior fabric simply because that is very straightforward. It's always the same, and well, it's like I only have two selections at this point. I think I'm out of blue. It's going to be white or beige, and then I'll match the pocket color so that you have contrast, so that you can actually see the slip pockets that are in the bag with the Kato. So in that case, it also has the add-on option of the crossbody strap. And then for the big bag, there's a bunch of selections you can make for it. If you want shoulder straps, if you want hand straps, if you want to add a pocket, that is now available as well. And then for the luxe tote bags, that is actually the one that has the most selections you can make. So you can choose a shoulder strap for the leather, or you can choose a handheld strap. I just went in and made sure that I added, we can rivet some leather on the edges of it so that you could actually have a crossbody option. And then on top of that, you can add the crossbody option. Hello, Flynn. It's been a while since we've had this happen. Hi, sweetie. What was it? The crossbody. You can choose the rivet color, all of that. Now, if you don't want to make all these selections, you can literally just choose the exterior fabric, and then you can go Katie chooses, and I will build the bag out from there. You will receive the same quality bag as you would of a build your own, just without all the choices besides exterior fabric. So what it would look like if you were to go and do a big bag, I can actually pull this out and show you. So say you want, this is actually one of the options. Here we go. So if you want to do a big bag out of this fabric, which is super cute, that's probably the best option to show you because I have the stuff handy. In that case, you can choose the webbing color for the big bags. And then I would go, personally, I would select this color. But obviously I've got other colors that would look good too. So this is the teal. You select teal, I put teal with it. Don't want teal? You can select yellow. You can select red, you can select gray, you can select navy, you can select beige. That's why it's a build your own. Then you're not stuck with teal on teal. If you don't want it, you could choose any of those other colors to add on it. So that's the very basic one actually. Even more basic is literally tell me I want a large box bag in this. Or small box bag, whichever you choose. There's only one of those each available right now, simply because that is the easiest way to manage my inventory of fabric. And because I actually have to sew for Knit City. I do not, guys, have enough fabric to fill my booth in Knit City. It's actually kind of terrifying. But we'll be working on that over the summer. All right. So the other exciting news is that we did actually move my cutting table into my fabric room. Originally, when we moved into this house, I was like, why didn't we do this to begin with? And so my laptop is sitting on my cutting table right now. I will take videos of all this later, and I'll actually do a studio tour once I finish tidying up, which is like this close. I think next time Dallas is home, I will actually do a proper studio tour video. Yes. I was just thinking about the amount of fabric that I have out there, and it may not happen, but that's okay. It'll still happen. Anyway, I was like, why didn't we do this before? Because it's like we had to take the cutting table apart, which was not a big deal, but it's still work and blah, blah, blah. And like we were able to add this light in so that I actually have a nice lit surface for cutting the fabrics on and cutting patterns on and all this. But I remembered why was that we actually were thinking that this would be a guest room, which we have decided it will not be. If anyone needs to stay with us, we will accommodate them elsewhere. But it's actually a way better move. So part of the argument for doing it this way is that now I literally do have all my fabric right here. And if I'm a good girl and behave myself like I should as a responsible business owner, I'll cut my fabric and put it back in the shelves. Now, I don't know if I'll hold myself to that promise, but it should actually help me keep it a little bit tidier. And hopefully losing less pieces, because here's the thing, I want to be able to cut, basically throw it in a bin that's like whatever size it's supposed to be, so small, large, box bag, big bag, blah blah blah, and go from there. Anyway, that's the exciting news. I have a bunch of markets lined up in Calgary over the summer, just working out some of the details. So once I have that for you, I will tell you on here, and then I'll also tell you on all the other social media sites. If you are looking to keep up with me, the best way to do it is actually the newsletter. I do a proper like breakdown of everything. Well, ideally every week. I have definitely skipped a few weeks recently, but it will have like video links. It'll have links to new products. It'll have all the stuff. So that is the best way to keep up. Oh, and the build your own. Sorry, the fabric catalog that is under the build your own is all fabric that I purchased in November. It's not any old fabric. It's not any of the May fabric because I have not had time to photograph it. But it is all the November fabric. So if you're looking for the new fabrics, that is the way to get them and to guarantee that you get them before I go out to any shows and they're not available anymore. So anyway, I'm going to launch into the explanation of purchasing fabrics in Japan. It is a long video. If you do not have time to watch this, I totally understand. I am not going to be speeding it up because it's a process video. But if you don't have time, just know that I will be doing a recap of the fabrics, and that'll be split up into a few smaller videos just for my sake as well. So, because these do take a long time to process and post and watch. And I do remember that watching in like an hour and a half, 2.5 hour process video is daunting and honestly kind of boring most of the time. But if you have any questions, pop them down in the comments and I will chat with you all in, well, you'll hear me throughout this video. I'm going to voice over with my lovely hoarse voice and we'll see where it gets us. So have a fantastic day, guys, and I will chat with you soon. Bye. It is really hard to explain my excitement seeing that sign and walking into this fabric store. All right, so here we are. I'm giving Caroline a rundown of kind of what we're doing because what we've done is we've gone around and we've made a selection of all the fabrics that we want to pick up. As you can see, I've already put a bunch in the cart. This trip we started on the 4th floor and we're just starting to pull the bolts off here, the long bolts. So now I have already forgotten most of the fabrics that I've actually purchased, so this is going to be a really good rundown for me too. So the really awesome part about going with Caroline is she has a very different color sense from me because she's a dyer. Again, I've talked about this before with going with Dallas and our different aesthetics, and the discussion about the fabric colors was happening here. So there's multiple different colors in each of these prints, and we were just debating what colors we should get. Obviously the gray came in with me. And then I think what I'm doing here is I'm trying to figure out what we wanted because I was like, hey, I know that there's more stuff on these shelves. I was wearing my point of view harness. I feel like a dork when I wear it. I really hope that a lot of this stuff came out. Bird fabric. Because I haven't actually watched it back very well. That would have been key before doing this. So I think, oh yeah, we didn't go with the wild birds, but we did go with like the cockatiels and budgies. And then, yeah. Comparing the different colors to see what I like. So I got a really good question about this on Instagram the other day. If like I find it daunting to go fabric shopping, and on one level, yes, on another level, no longer. There's so much selection, but there's also only so much that is actually going to be saleable. And thankfully at this point, you guys have been able to direct me very well. Excuse me. That's that lovely hoarseness that I've got right now. But I've got a pretty good eye on what you guys typically enjoy. Now, does that mean that everything that I get is a hit? No. But it does mean that I, on a whole, have a pretty good idea of what's going to sell and what won't. I really wish I had had my phone up a little bit. There we go. Good job, Katie. Future Katie, thanks. Past Katie, because my goodness, I would be so disappointed if this video had been at that level that whole time. These were all really good colors of rabbits and squirrels. Obviously just debating about it. So the big decision that ends up happening is like, I know what prints are going to sell, but it's typically what colors are going to work. I don't know why I debate about that one so long. It's gorgeous. Now Caroline and I are talking because we are plotting the things. So that is something that will be discussed at a later point. We ended up with 2 carts on this floor. So at this point, I should just know to actually grab 2 carts every time because that's always how this goes. I know I did make a girl's day when I was downstairs on the first floor because she was watching me pile my fabrics into the cart and she was like, "Oh, we can just grab one of those to use." And it's like, yeah, that's what they're there for. So she was very excited and I'm very glad I was able to enable another foreigner into buying more fabric. Easier. So here's Caroline helping me shuffle all the bolts because we are running out of space already. As I said, the actual like folded bolts are underneath, and they always make it more difficult to fill these carts. And we're not even done our first shelf, really. Just watching this footage back, I am very pleased with how this harness worked for actually doing this shop. Now, I do know it didn't work very well for Nomura just because of how it's set up. So that was more handheld recording. So I didn't take as much there as I did last time, but I do have quite a bit and really enough from Tomato. This is almost 2 hours worth of recording, guys. So what I actually ended up doing was going and purchasing fabric once with Caroline, and then we went back to the room because I had filled the backpack. There's a fabric that I wanted to get in November and then decided not to. I love it. It's so cute. Did I get this color or did I get another color? I guess we'll find out in a moment. Anyway, I purchased all my fabric on the 4th floor. We packed the backpack, went back to the hotel room, and then I went with a different color. Yes, I like that color better. Oh, that one's even better. There we go. um, yeah, I went back to the hotel room, unloaded the backpack, and then I went back and actually did another fabric shop. So we ended up with 100 pounds of fabric between the 2 shops. Packed it into, yeah, there's the second card already. We ended up packing the backpack and one of the rolly suitcases to actually ship up to Narita as soon as this was done. So the original plan was actually we left Calgary on Friday. We arrived in Japan obviously on Saturday. At a pretty decent time actually. It was still light outside when we got there, which was really nice. And then I remembered that Tomato is actually closed on Sundays. So the first day I had planned to do Tomato because fabric shopping is it's work. Oh yeah, red Cheshire cat. But it's like it's not brain stress work, if that makes sense. And actually thinking about this, I think what this video is going to do, I'm only going to record voice over the first section and then I will actually split the video into 2 parts so it's a little bit easier to watch. Anyway, I just realized that I could actually do that. Anyway, so we arrived on, whatchamacallit, we arrived on Saturday because, of course, with the time change, you go over the international date line, blah, blah, blah. Showed up, figured out that we wouldn't be able to actually do the fabric shopping on Sunday as I planned because fabric shopping when you're jet lagged is actually a pretty good activity to do. So instead, we actually went to the Imperial Grounds and did the gardens there, which was really nice. This is the only the second time I've been to the Imperial Gardens in Japan, and the first time was in December, so it doesn't really count. At least not for me. So we did that, and then on the Monday we went and got to Tomato. Actually, before they opened at like 10:50 in the morning, I walked in just like I'm gonna buy fabric, and one of the shop guys was like, "We're not open yet." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. The doors are open," so I totally thought they were. I was like, "Cool, they've opened a little bit early." Oh yeah, capybara fabric on black instead of blue this time. Sorry. It's exciting. Um, and all of that. So yeah, I was just super excited to shop, obviously, and it was funny. So we walked down to the end of the street, and then we walked back, and by the time we got back, they were actually open, and I think that was about 5 minutes early. Nice, bright, fun carnival cart fabric. Like I said, I'm going to do a full preview of all of these. It's just really fun, or at least I hope it's fun. I have fun actually rewatching this footage back to see what I bought, because obviously it's not daunting, but it is overwhelming, and I do forget what I buy a lot of the time. So it's fun to watch it back and see before I actually unpack it what I bought. Now, a good part of this video is also the cutting of the fabric, so I'll probably speed up through that simply because that is where it starts to get boring. Not boring, just, no, it gets boring. Even for me, it's boring to stand around. And it's never simple for actually the amounts that I buy either. So the base number that I usually use is 2 meters. Oh yeah, I did get that. Good. That one's super cute, and it's got sloths on it. So if you're looking for fabric with sloths, that's one of them. But like the easy part is selecting the fabric, but it's never an easy answer of like how much do you want. So the base number is 2, but sometimes it's 1, and sometimes it's 3, and so it's just I always feel bad for the people cutting the fabric for me, because I'm just like, why do I have to be so indecisive, I guess? It's not indecision. It's, I don't know what to call that. Strawberries. There's so many good fabrics, guys. I go there sometimes and I still wonder why I'm not living in Japan. I know why I'm not living in Japan, but it's like from watching from over here, it's like, man, I should go back and live in Japan again. One thing is, it's like, I do really enjoy living in Canada. I would miss my mountains too much, and we have a really good support network for the kids here now too. For me with the kids, and a good doctor, actually an excellent doctor. I just saw her today for my diabetes. Excuse me. Alright, so we finished that first rack, and now we're going into the second rack of fabric here. Lucky Cats on kind of a sandy off-white and on black. Now, a lot of the time I do pull a lot of these fabrics and then actually end up putting them back, just because it's like that final debate. It's more of a grab to make sure that I actually get it. There's some new Tuxedo Cat fabric. This is kind of in the same vein as that fabric that I had in November with the window panes, which is not on the Build Your Own stuff. So here we're just finishing off the debate on colors of what we want to get. I don't know why I debated about this orange one for so long in the tuxedo print. And that red one is a restock. So I'll go back to the orange one in a moment. But it was actually really nice. I haven't done a trip this close back to back recently, for obvious reasons. Some of it money as well. And but it was really nice doing November and May at the same time, because then I was able to restock on some of the fabrics that had been more popular than I anticipated, or as popular as I anticipated, but I didn't want to give too much luggage space to them. Because the biggest constraint I have is the amount that I can actually carry home. Now, if you have followed me for a while, or if you did any of my virtual events over the last few years, you know there are multiple factors in what I do to actually select fabric. Now, the big one is saleability, obviously. So the debate on that orange was if I would be able to sell it or not. Obviously, this one that I'm putting in with the purple very likely will not be a problem. But I do laugh about the orange one, because I definitely looked at it, and then I looked at one of the other fabrics I picked up, and it also had that exact same orange in it. So, I don't know what I was doing in some ways. So, the factors in what I purchase, and going back to that whole is it daunting or not question, is there's multiple factors in the decision making process. So right here, it's obviously color. I went with the blue because it made the red pop the best, all of that. The other factor is size of print. So the size of print will affect how much I purchase and what I purchase it for. So like the Sassy Cat Amongst Roses and Wisteria is a very large print size. Like most of the motifs on it are at least the size of my hand. That is not going to generally work on a small box bag. What it does work on though is a big bag, a Lux tote bag, and is most of the time a large box bag, although that is starting to push it. Now, if I have smaller cuts, I will end up making small box bags in it, and sometimes they turn out way better than I anticipate. But that is the first indicator of deciding what I'm going to actually use and how much I'm going to use of it. So I'm going through here right now, and there's a few I'm going to debate on. I think I debated on this one, and then the Japanese aesthetic for colors is very different from North American aesthetic with colors. And sometimes it works really well, and sometimes it's just personal preference. So for that one, I was like, meh. This one, I don't know why I put it back. I think probably it was just too thin and too much. Same as this one. So see how busy that one is? Now, in some ways it makes it subtle, and in some ways it just makes it too much. And so now what I'm doing is I'm debating about print size. So like that one I wouldn't typically use on a big bag because it's too much print. But I'll happily use it on like a smaller large box bag. This is where the weight limit comes in though. It has to suit. So that one was good, but it wasn't very good. Same as this. Nice, but I won't buy it. This one though, because of the colors, it's nice and fresh. It reminds me of Sailor Moon. It's very summery. That one comes home with me. It's also good across all of my bag sizes. So that will probably become everything, including triangle pouches, which are some of my smallest motifs. We saw a ton of hydrangeas, and that's what that fabric is there. So that's part of why I bought it. And then we got some, what's that? I think that's sakura. Now I know I said I was going to chop these up, but I just realized I'll just speed up through the cutting parts of it. Again, that's the boring part. And then it will cut it down from 2 hours, which will be good. These are some of the last fabrics, though. That bin was one of the last things that I pulled fabric out of. We couldn't fit any more in the carts, even if we wanted to. Although I still pull a few more things out because, look at those dragonflies. Those are amazing. Yeah, good. The decision passed, Katie. That harness, when you're wearing it, looks so dumb. And I will laugh so hard if it is actually what's used in POV stuff. But it has worked so well for this. It's amazing. I'll have to post a photo of myself wearing it because, yeah, I feel like such a dork doing it. Okay. Walk, 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 walk. That's what my daughter says. I need to walk. Walk, walk, walk. And then we go and we make the cutting people's lives very difficult because it is a lot. And it's all cut to different lengths. I can't just say, hey, cut this all to 2 meters, please. I have to be very contrary about it. It's really cool because the guy that did actually do most of the cutting was someone who was there in November as well. So that was actually really awesome. All right, so they take their bolts. So this tomato is also really cool because it's obviously you're able to. Now we're going through and we're actually doing how much we want, but you go through and you self pick. Nomura is different in the fact that you actually end up doing. They'll pick the fabric for you. there, and then they're splitting it up because some of them are going to be different lengths than others. So this is the part that I'm actually going to speed up. I probably won't do too much voiceover work in it just because we'll speed it up. We're debating how much fabric we need of that for stuff. As I said, that is a super sneaky project, so keep your eyes open for it. But yeah, I'm going to leave it here. Speed up through the cutting, and then I will chat with you when I get to purchasing the first floor stuff. Okay, I was going to leave you behind, but I just realized, I'm like, so this actually sped up from 35 minutes. So they cut all of my meterages that I wanted to. 50 pounds is about 100 meters total, just over, just under. Sometimes depends on the actual weight of the fabric, but in general it's about 100 meters. But they cut that in 35 minutes for me. So shout out to Tomato Nippori, because it's absolutely amazing how efficient they are. Because they not only cut it, but they also fold it for you. So these folds are they go in my backpack perfectly. And so I just wanted to give you a heads up. This was 35 minutes. It's gone down to 6.9 minutes, about 7 minutes. I sped it up 5 times. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video of them cutting, and I will come back when we're back on the first floor. And again, just a big shout out to Tomato. They are spectacular. Alright, and here we are back, cart grab. So Caroline and I, we finished up on the 4th floor, and then we, as I mentioned before earlier in the video, we went back to the hotel room. I unloaded the backpack because there was no way to actually put more fabric in it or for either of us to be able to carry the fabric. But what we had done is we had actually gone around and actually done the 1st floor selections together before she went back to the hotel room. So the sequence of events when I do this shopping, and it's pretty much the same every single time I go. I go in, I do 1st floor selections, and then I go up to the 4th floor, and then in this case I go back to the hotel room from the 4th floor and come back and do my 1st floor purchases. Anyway. It is a process. The one nice thing is that we were staying at Mitsui Garden Otemachi, and that location was perfect. It was a 12-minute walk from Tokyo Station, but a 5-minute walk from Kanda Station, and Kanda Station is that much closer to Nippori. That was like a 10-minute train ride, so it was super easy to be able to actually take all this stuff back to the hotel room and then come back and do the 2nd floor. When I did my trip in November, I actually filled my bag so much in Kyoto that I only filled one bag in Tomato, and so kind of did the reverse here on this trip. Lots of crochet fabrics. I don't think this is a question that's popped up, but I do actually end up doubling up on fabrics once in a while. There's so much, you forget what you get. Now, when I did go back, there were actually bolts missing from the shelves, but I saw them get restocked, so I actually will go and pick them up from the shelves later on in the video. It was a hedgehog fabric that was adorable. So worth going and picking up after I've been cut. Some nice cat face fabric there. Good colors all around. Oh, no. Apparently. Oh, yeah. I chose the kind of olive color. It was so good. So good. And again, we'll do a show and tell of these fabrics so that you can actually see them. But guys, this is one floor of fabric. So this is the floor that I panned over at the very beginning of the video when I'm saying how excited I am to actually go into this shop. So this side is all kind of made in Japan fabrics. It's not, I don't remember the brands that are on this side, but the side that's on basically so you are looking at me correctly with how the video is set up. So right hand side is right hand side, left hand side is left hand side. So these left hand shelves are all these fabrics that I'm selecting right now, obviously, and then the right hand shelves are actually a lot of the coca and other fabrics that I also purchased quite a bit of, but they're also in bolts. So as discussed, these rolls are easier when there's no bolts in the cart. At this point, there's not as much debate. I already know approximately how much I brought back from the last trip, so I'm going to try and match that. The one nice thing about traveling with Caroline is that we ended up splitting one of her second bags. And then, of course, I paid for an extra bag because it's still cheaper than actually flying over to Japan again. The nice thing about the extra bag when you pay for it is that it can't go oversized or overweight as long, okay, never mind. It can. It has to be 70 pounds and under. I think it used to be 75, so I think they've cut some off of that, but that's okay. It's still the same cost to actually take it on the plane. Hey, bud. What was I going to say about that? And honestly, paying for the extra baggage is still cheaper than shipping it at any... Well, maybe not if I were to ship it on a boat, but the problem with shipping it on a boat is then I have to wait 3 to 4 months to actually receive it. I've done that in the past. I did that actually off of exchange. Yeah, and this is not something that I want to be waiting for. Well, for obvious reasons. We want to get it into production. Hopefully I can get some of this into production for Net City. So we're going through Super cute hedgehog fabrics. Flynn is trying to... we're watching past Katie. Current Katie is watching Flynn figure out what's available in the room for him to sleep on. That's who's chirping in the background. So let's see if you'll come join me on the cutting table. Hi. Alright, so it looks like at this point I probably need a second cart. Yep. Get the second cart and come back. There we go. So now, there's one more section of prints to go through. Not quite sure what's happening here, but oh, the shopkeeper is helping someone else. That's what happened. Alright, so we go back to the front and now we do the bolts. So the coca fabrics are obviously super popular even outside of Japan. Chocolate bars. Hello. So that's a good big bag print. That was too large of print. It's kind of like a border print. It would be super cute as a skirt. Or something of that nature. Tablecloth with like an inset in the middle. Oh yeah. I don't know what the debate there was, but okay. Now I know there's fabrics that I missed too, but we got a lot of really good ones. Oh yeah, crepe cats. Like I said, I love going back and watching this like footage sometimes because it's like, oh yeah, those fabrics. I love those fabrics. They always tell you about pregnancy brain, but there's very few people who end up actually talking about mom brain. It's just like, some days it feels like there's two brain cells and they sometimes collide in my head. It's getting better though. I'm like getting far enough out that I'm starting to feel more like myself, which is awesome. Keep hearing that actually the postpartum hormones can last something like 7 years, and I'm like, oh, I hope it's not that long. Anywhere from 2 to 7 years. I've definitely noticed a very high uptick in the last like not even 3 months, maybe 2, with a shift that's been much to my benefit. Getting distracted by ooh shiny. Here's the thing, as you pull more fabrics off the shelf, sometimes you end up seeing stuff that you didn't see before. One cart in front, one cart behind. And that's actually so the number one thing that I enjoyed about this stupid POV harness is the fact that I could do this whole shop hands-free. Whereas last year in November, I had to keep doing it all one-handed and set the phone down and set the phone up. So I'm hoping it's not giving very many people any motion sickness. That is the one side effect, because honestly it has it really helps film this process. It's like, where'd that fabric go? I know I saw it here somewhere. Something down there. Oh yeah, dog newsprint. So there's the color debate. There are so many colors of it, like what works, right? So that grellowy yellow gray works really well. That light blue works well. And then yeah, okay, those are the two that I got. I thought I might have gotten the one with the orange as well, but apparently I didn't. The one awkward thing, kind of, is the fact that I have a big backpack on while I'm doing this. So I have a massive trekking backpack. Again, if you've heard me talk about stuff recently, this is like the backpack. It's the biggest one that Dwighter makes, I think, for overnight trips. It's something like 60 plus 10 liters or something in nuts. And the most intense thing it's going to see are these fabric trips. But anyway, I can shrink it down quite a bit on my back, but it does add a layer of movement difficulty. Should almost figure out a way to like strap it to those carts while I'm in the shop. It will probably like condense it a bit better. Just waiting to be able to get pounce on that fabric apparently. Oh yeah, that one. So that one is also going to be coming in a red color as well. I swooped on it when I saw it being cut for someone else. Itty bitty kitties in a large floral forest. Okay, and then this is the woman that actually asked if she could use the carts or not, and we just made her day telling her that she could use the carts. Cat and masks felt a little bit too on the nose. It's super cute, but I decided against it. Laundry line cats. We've done laundry line cats before, but this is like a different version of the theme. That fabric as well. It's almost like a Baroque cat wallpaper. The red is like absolutely spectacular. Sushi cat on red, and I'm pretty sure I got sushi cat on green. They did not have the navy. It was sold out, so that tells you how popular it was after I picked it up in November. It's been super popular at home, so thank you guys. I really appreciate that too, because it is an adorable fabric, and it's always a nice payoff when I track down a fabric that is that popular that fast. Alright, what else do we have here? Yeah, so there's sushi cat on the forest green. Nice pant legs, Katie. Making sure I stay out of the way as much as possible with my 2 carts and massive backpack. Like I said, it's always a game. Let's see. Oh yeah, no. Cats and masks. Nope. Again, sometimes you see different fabrics when you've pulled other fabrics out, and so that's kind of what's happening here. Yes, this is the narrative fabric, so this is the newest adventures of that polar bear and penguin. And there's a baby polar bear now. He just spawned into existence, I guess. I'm not sure where he came from, but you know, I gotta pick it up. So they've made pancakes, they've gone to space, they have been, apparently I have itchy hands. So the New York pancakes, space, and now they're camping too. It's adorable. Anyway. Yes. Good decision, past Katie. These bolts really like, okay, so it's not that these bolts don't fit in these carts, or that like the other bolts don't, like the rolls don't fit, or when like it's a pain to fit the rolls around the bolts. It's just that I buy so much fabric. I know I'm the problem, but you know, we gotta get this, right? There are so many good fabrics this trip though, guys. Like I said, it was really nice to be able to do 2 trips back to back. My bank account is not happy with me. But you know, it'll all work out. Alright, now there are some selections that have to happen here. I am very in the way in this corner, by the way, between my 2 carts and my backpack. But this is like the more traditional Japanese prints. So they've got that whole wall there with a breakdown of everything. Some giant Maiko and Geiko. Good. Should almost do this as like a let's play commentary. Just talk about myself in the 3rd person. Good job, Katie. Good fabric selecting. Okay, I did get that one in other colors. I really like this parasol print though too. I got it from here, the chrysanthemums. I did get a parasol print, but I'm pretty sure it's like a dark teal, and it is absolutely spectacular. The parasols are all outlined in gold. Here comes a person. This is the person that I'm very in the way of. It's like, oh my goodness. Oh, and then it was, her umbrella was behind me. So, the adventures of trying to buy your business fabric in the back corner of Tomato. That is such an out of context sentence that if someone else heard that, they would be like, what are you talking about? Anyway, here's the last of the debate. Oh yeah, there. Come on, Katie. Pick it up. The purple was nice, but it just wasn't right. I don't remember why. Oh, good. Did you get it? I got it. That's too big. I have had a variation of that print before, but it's really hard to work with. Where is their space? Right there. I'm actually surprised I didn't put anything back this trip. I just put it in the cart and bought it all, and then added more while I was at the cutting table. I am impressed. I'm still impressed. We actually had a few pounds left over in the bags, which is kind of annoying. But we couldn't have done better, I don't think. What ended up happening is I didn't see anything else. I was super I gotta buy. It's part of it. Come on, Katie. I know that you can find a spot. Struggle bus. I think I ended up actually going back and getting a smaller roll or something like that. Oh, nope, I found the spot. And then the other rolls fell over as well. Because of course they would. There, make space. Pick them up. Now, don't worry about them falling on the floor. All my fabrics get washed before I actually make anything with them. Newly processed fabric actually is pretty gross. And me pre-washing them means that you are able to also wash your bags. Excuse me. Okay, so I didn't get the parasols here. I must have gotten those in Kyoto. So here I am walking up to the cutting tables. And then what I'll do is I'll cut up the cutting process as well. There we go. They accepted me at the cutting tables. I didn't have to go around to the front to go do it. Yeah, so I'm actually looking at this clip, and that means that about 35 minutes to cut all this fabric again, which is super cool. They are just so good. He folded it all so that it fit in my backpack as well, which, here's another thing that's really cool, and I've noticed actually in Japan, is that there are a lot of men working at craft stores and working at fabric stores specifically, and employed there, from what I can tell, in the long term as well. So like I said, the gentleman that cut my fabric on the 4th floor, he was definitely there in November. And then when I was in Kyoto for Nomura, I think the boss man, someone at least, was also there from when I was there in November as well, which is super cool. So he's cutting. They take down the information just like they would at Fabricland or whatever. Obviously, a very different fabric than I would purchase at Fabricland, or could purchase at Fabricland. The big question I get a lot is is it worth it going to Japan for fabrics? And for me, it is. Even with the cost uprises that have happened, some of these fabrics just would not be accessible here at all. Now, purchasing online has become more available in Japan, but a lot of them still use a middleman shipping, and then there lies the problem as well, is that you're using a shipping company again. So for me as a business, this still makes the best sense. It cuts out that middleman. It cuts out the shipping costs beyond what I pay for luggage, which again is far less than what I would be paying to actually ship it at any speed above ship, which again has its own problems, and gives me the experience of actually being able to be the first person to, like, it puts me as the person who does everything from start to finish. I feel the fabric, I feel the weight, I see the colors, I see the textures on it, because a lot of the fabrics from Japan are textured. They're what I call the dobby weave, where the warp and weft are a little bit slubby. And in some ways it's the start of the quality control of the bag making process to me, and to me that is extremely important. So yes, it is still worth it to go to Japan. Besides, of course, the absolute horror, that's sarcasm, of going to Japan. But anyway, this was, yeah, I do have to laugh because, of course, we cut all the fabric. I went up and I paid for it, and then I went and packed the backpack, and it was another 50-pound backpack. It is not light. I will not say that carrying this backpack was easy, but it was hilarious because I completely shocked the guy that was cutting the fabric, because I put the backpack on the table, the cutting table. I packed it with all my fabric, and then I hefted it on my backpack and I left. And just the look of shock on his face is still making me giggle. But it was lighter than carrying my 2 children. Again, it was not easy. I don't like doing it. If I had actually thought it out, I should have taken like a suitcase or something. But the backpack is easier to carry on and off the trains and everything like that. So anyway, so I'm going to keep talking up until we go to the shelves and grab the extra fabric, because it is adorable and I want you to see it. Actually, I'm going to stop the voiceover here and I'll speed up through this part until we get there. Okay, so I've just seen a staff member go and restock this fabric, so here we go. We're gonna go pick it up. Gotta go pick it up before someone else snags it, because I could not leave this fabric behind. Hustle, Katie, hustle. Apparently I had really itchy hands this day. Probably because I was spending money. Anyway, so here it is. Could not leave without this fabric. Come on, it is adorable. Hedgehogs are always adorable. Japan does these hedgehogs so well. It's very similar to the cat fabric that you saw me pick out earlier. here I am hustling back. Not like he doesn't have a bunch of fabric to cut. Yeah. Anyway. I did ask what the animal name was, and then I promptly forgot it. I should actually look that up and let you know, but I will do that later. But anyway, they are adorable, and it was totally worth that hustle back to get to them. So, I am going to actually stop it here, the voiceover here. And I'll come back for the very last clip. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed actually watching or having this experience of going to Japan to buy fabric again. Again, I invite any questions that you have to be asked in the comments. I'm more than happy to help. Well, unless it's super rude, I guess. That would be the place that I wouldn't. So please don't be rude in my comments. But otherwise, yeah, I'm more than happy to have a chat in the comments. And I hope you guys all have a fantastic week. And I will chat to you, next week. I'll try and get some more video done. And if you did like this video or you want to see more of the process, please subscribe, like, and share with any friends you think might enjoy my project bags as well. Or my handbags as they start to come out more too. And I will see y'all later. Bye. And then this was actually the final haul, all spread out on our beds in our hotel room in Mitsui Garden, Otemachi. There, like I said, there are some really good fabrics in here, guys. I cannot wait to actually show them all off to you. And yeah, that will be in the next couple weeks. Have a fantastic time.